What is going on, live streamers? My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be talking to you about using StreamYard and just live streaming in general for YouTube. It's actually more about live streaming in general for YouTube. But just in case you're not familiar with me and the content that I put out, my name is Nick, and I teach people how to grow YouTube channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube-related stuff. I've been on YouTube since September of 2014. I've been live streaming for I would say probably since September, or not September, but since I would say 2015, maybe 2016, but I've been streaming for a while. And I actually have a show that I do every single Saturday called Nimin Live on my YouTube channel, where I answer YouTube specific questions. And for that, of course, I'm using StreamYard. But when it comes to live streaming on YouTube, there are some things that you should definitely keep in mind, because if you're live streaming to Facebook and you're live streaming to, some of the other platforms, it's just important to know that YouTube is its own beast in a way. In terms of when it comes to live streaming on YouTube, there are other things at play that you want to make sure that you're tapping into, so that the efforts that you're putting into your live stream are something that you can, get fruit from, so to speak. So because of that, the 10 things that I'm going to be going over with you are going to help you in terms of just getting more attention to what it is that you're doing on YouTube, specifically with your live streams. And I'm also going to just share some insights in the event that you're not as familiar with YouTube or something like that, because in the StreamYard community forum on Facebook, I see some questions being answered or asked there that are specific to YouTube. And I just wanted to make sure that I address some of those things here as well. So if you're just joining us, I just want to say welcome to the live stream. I'm going to be talking right here in just a second. I'm going to be talking about 10 different things that you need to keep in mind when you're live streaming to YouTube. So if you're live streaming to other platforms, you're using YouTube as one of the places that you multicast to, then you need to watch this. If you are live streaming specifically and solely to YouTube, you need to watch this, because it's going to help you out. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is what is important to YouTube. And if you want YouTube to work for you on your behalf, I just want to kind of explain how things work when it comes to YouTube. So the very first thing to always remember is that a lot of people, when they're putting out video content or live streams onto YouTube, they think in terms of, I put this live stream out, or I put this piece of video content out, and then YouTube, they go and they scour the platform and they find somebody to watch the video, or they promote the video, is the common idea when it comes to YouTube. However, it actually works in reverse on YouTube, because on YouTube, the most important thing, of course, is the viewers. It's not the people that are uploading content there. It's not the people that are streaming there. It's the actual users of the platform, the people that are seeing all the ads, which is not us, unless we're in consumer mode and we're just watching YouTube videos. So because of that, well, how it actually works is YouTube has profiles of sorts around every single user on the platform since the day that you started your channel. And over the entire time that you have been, watching YouTube and interacting with other content creators, there's videos that you've watched, videos you've chosen not to watch, videos that you've given thumbs up to, thumbs down, comments, things like that. YouTube is tracking all of that stuff, and they use all of those things to determine what type of content that you're most likely to watch at a specific point in time. Now, that specific point in time can be when you are at work and you're taking a lunch break. You might consume shorter form content during your lunch break because it fits better into your lunch break. YouTube knows this, and because of that, they'll serve you the content that you're most likely to watch, shorter form content at that point in time. Or if it's longer form content, then in that case, that's what you'll see at that point in time. Same exact thing goes for the devices that you're watching on. So let's say, for example, when you're on your phone, you have a different type of behavior than you do when you're on a computer or TV. YouTube is tracking all of that, and because of that, they use the device that you're on, as well as the location and the time of day and where it is that you're actually watching from. They use all of that information to basically tap into this humongous pool of content to identify what it is that you're most likely to watch at that point in time. So instead of thinking of it like I put out a live stream, I go live on YouTube and then YouTube promotes it, I just want you to think the other way around, because one, it's how YouTube actually works. And two, because everything that I'm getting ready to talk about is going to make a lot more sense when you understand YouTube from the perspective of what it is that YouTube wants, which is to give an awesome experience to the people that are, that are interacting with the platform. So that's in a nutshell how YouTube works. Now, within YouTube having, these profiles of all these different things that we watch, another thing that comes into play with that is that, let's say that somebody watches videos here on StreamYard, right? And because of that, they're watching a lot of live streaming specific content, like, this particular one. And YouTube has identified that you're watching the videos here. And they will also, you'll notice if you start watching a lot of live streaming based content on the StreamYard channel, you're also going to notice that YouTube is going to start suggesting other live streaming topically live streaming based content to you elsewhere on the platform as well, from other YouTube channels that talk about it, like my friends over at Live Streaming Pros. Maybe you'll see it from my YouTube channel, not sure. But the idea behind this is that their system just identifies that, hey, they're interested in this type of content. So let's also show them some content from other channels that they might not necessarily be interacting with, but based on their history compared to the user history of the other people that are using the platform, this is what their system thinks that you might be likely to watch at that point in time. So that's YouTube in a nutshell. Of course, there's tons of nuance, but that's it in a nutshell. So let's get into the actual 10 things that you need to know when it comes to live streaming onto YouTube. So the very first is that it's important to make sure that you are live streaming for the replay. And what I mean by that is, of course, having a live event is fantastic. Having this live stream right now, it's great because, there's some people hanging out, in the stream right now, watching this, interacting in the chat, things like that. And, it's cool. However, the majority, if you're doing everything, correctly, a majority of the viewership is actually going to come after the live stream is already completed. So what that means is while you're live, you're creating a piece of content that is, one, awesome when it's live, but two, it's also great. So, or at least at an acceptable level. So when people come into your live stream on the replay, because YouTube recommends it to them, then you get positive responses or signals that go to YouTube that lets them know that it's a satisfactory experience for the people that are interacting in that live replay. So if we were to put this into like a real life scenario, you can see if you were here when this stream first started up, if you're one of the few people that were actually like waiting for us to go live, then in that situation, you'll notice as soon as the stream came in, or if you're watching this on the replay, you'll notice this as well. But as soon as the stream started, I'm talking. I'm not hanging out with a thing on my screen saying we're going to be starting in 10 minutes. I'm not hanging out, with a thing on the screen for a minute saying that we're going to be starting in a minute. As soon as it comes on, I'm talking. And the reason for that is because for the people that are going to come in onto this live stream on the replay, to where it will actually be a piece of stored video content at that point, but for the people that come in on that, I also want to grab their attention when it first starts. I also want to make it an experience that they get that's similar to the video content on YouTube, because they've already missed the boat. They're not here live. So because of that, I'm catering everything for the replay value of this particular live stream, and you should consider the same. Now, in addition to that, when you are catering everything for the replay, it's also important to make sure that you are optimizing your titles and your thumbnails as well for grabbing attention of the people that you're trying to reach. Now, what I mean by that is it's often common for live streamers, we'll use like the same templates and things like that for our thumbnails. Maybe we'll even use the same title. But what you'll find over time is that you'll actually get better results on YouTube if you optimize each live stream around a specific topic, just like I'm doing with this live stream here, but you optimize each live stream around a specific topic. You talk about that specific topic the entire time. You have your title, your tags, your description, and your thumbnail, of course, that are pointing towards this live stream or the replay being about that specific topic. And the win with that is when you're optimizing your videos for the replay, you're optimizing there for the humans to enjoy it as they come in. But when you're optimizing your thumbnail and title, you're actually optimizing that stuff just to get people to click on it in the first place. Because as an example, it's important to make sure that for whatever types of stream that you're doing, that you're thinking about the people that are going to be coming in and watching what it is that you're doing. And you want to think of your thumbnail and title as a discovery mechanism, right? Because your thumbnail and title are the things that are going to cause somebody to actually click on your live stream or that live replay. So for example, if you have a live stream and the title is just live stream, or, live streaming with Nick Nimmin, or live streaming, whatever thing it is that you're live streaming, then in that situation, there's no real context there. There's no real discovery mechanism built in. There's nothing there in terms of YouTube being able to instantly identify what your live stream is about. And that's what your titles, your tags, and your description help with. But when you give YouTube that context to what your live stream is about, then that's one of those things that helps YouTube find it to the right people that are coming onto the platform or already on the platform, like we talked about before, that are the most likely to watch it at that point in time based on their interest. Right? So if you just name it live stream, there's no context there except for the fact that it's a live stream. But if you name it something very specific for the people that you're trying to reach, and you put together a complete package for the people that you're trying to reach in terms of your thumbnail and your title, then you're going to yield better results, because that gives you the opportunity to show up in search. It gives you the opportunity when you're presented on homepage while you're live or on the replay. It gives you the option to actually let people know, hey, this is what the stream's about. This is what's going on. And then you write your title and you put your thumbnail and title package together in a way to where the target people that you're trying to reach will also respond to it. So for example, in this particular live stream, or on the replay, what I'm doing is I'm targeting, live streamers. So because of that, if somebody sees this on their homepage, you might have come in from the homepage yourself, but if somebody sees this on the homepage of YouTube, they know right away that if they are a live streamer, this piece of content is for them. So you want to do that same exact thing, to where if I just titled it live stream with Nick Nimmin, or, tips with Nick Nimmin, there's no real context into what it is about, or that the stream is about, which then takes away from people being able to identify that it's for them. So you want to put your thumbnail and your title together so that it's compelling, just like you would if you were uploading a piece of video content by itself. Super important when it comes to discovery on YouTube. And another thing is you want to make sure that you have a plan when you go live so that it's engaging for people when they come in, right? Like when you are, and this is number 3, by the way, when you are putting your live stream together, it's real common for people to not have any type of plan, to where they just come in, they have, maybe like a bullet point or two, and then they just freestyle the whole thing, which you can do, and it can be engaging. However, it's really good practice to make sure that you do have some type of plan that you can follow along. A run of show is typically what that's called, but at a base level, it's just bullet points, right? And the reason for that is because while you're live, of course, you're going to end up possibly stemming off on the thoughts that you have. So you might be talking about one thing and then something else pops in your brain, and because of that, you end up thinking or talking about something completely unrelated to the stream. Well, if you have a plan, then what you're going to do is you're going to get more replay and live value out of it, because you're going to be able to stay on track and stay focused on what it is that you're talking about. Now, when it comes to YouTube, one of the things that are important on their satisfaction signals in terms of, is this a quality piece of content or not? One of the things that matter to YouTube is how long people actually watch. Ultimately, what they're trying to get is as much watch time per impression as possible. And what that means, for every time they show your thumbnail and title to somebody, they want somebody to actually click on that as much as possible, and then come in and watch your video or your live stream for as long as possible, so that by the time it's finished, hopefully they'll get another ad served, or they'll just have a good experience with your piece of content. So then YouTube can identify, hey, when we show this content to people, they don't leave YouTube. They don't get bored. They don't just continue clicking around. They actually stick on this piece of content for a little bit. So because of that, we can identify this as a quality piece of content. And therefore, if there's somebody else on the platform that we think would be a good fit for this, we're going to show it to them, because this piece of content is proven to be something that people are satisfied with. So that's the idea. So when you have that plan, it just helps keep you on point when it comes to making a satisfactory live stream and just an overall experience for the people that are coming in and interacting with you during your live streams, and of course the replays themselves. Now, another thing, and this is YouTube specific, and this is the 4th one, and that is to let you know that you can edit your live streams here on YouTube. I know some of the other platforms don't let you do that. On YouTube, you have the option to where you can edit right here on YouTube in the YouTube editor. Now, one thing that a lot of people do, and I'm bringing this up for a reason, one of the things that a lot of people do is they'll do the things that I was talking about, where they'll have this big long thing in the beginning of their live stream before it even starts. Maybe it's a 10-minute countdown or a 5-minute countdown, because they want to wait and get people in, so they can participate in the live stream. And then what they'll do is, after the live stream is finished, they'll go back and they'll cut that part off. Now, one thing that I want to let you know when it comes to editing your content content, editing your live stream replays. And I also want to let you know, I'm going to be doing a Q&A once this is all, once I get through this list of 10 things. I'm going to be doing a Q&A where I'm going to be answering your questions about all the stuff that we talked about today. So if you have any questions that come up while I'm talking about all this, definitely write them down, and we'll get them answered up for you here in just a little bit. But another thing though, is that when you do go back and you cut off that first, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a minute, whatever it is that you're doing for the edit, then it's important that you know that you do lose the chat replay with that. So if you are putting up your live stream and you're like, hey, I love the interaction with the chat, and I love that people are in here talking, and it's important for the sake of the live stream for people to be able to see the context of what's happening in the chat, that sort of thing, then it's just important for you to know on YouTube, when you edit that live stream, if you go back and you cut out that first, 10 minutes, minute, whatever it happens to be, that you are actually going to lose the chat replay as well. So basically, once you edit it down, YouTube processes the content, and then after YouTube processes the content, and then they make it public, then that live chat is gone. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Another thing is that now you have to enable the live chat. So before, it was default enabled to where you could just, you just go live, and like no matter what, you had a live chat there unless you turned it off. But now you have to go through the process of actually enabling the live chat. So if you're streaming directly from StreamYard, the workflow that you need to do when it comes to your YouTube channel is that you need to publish or schedule it inside of StreamYard. This is what I do: schedule it inside of StreamYard. And then once everything is scheduled inside of StreamYard, go into YouTube. And once you go into YouTube, if you just click on the create button at the very top of your screen, you're going to have the option to go live. Don't be intimidated by that, because if you click that go live, if you're on a computer, then what's going to happen is it's going to take you into the new live studio, and you're going to have the option to manage that particular live stream. So what you want to do in that situation is click into it. That's where you're going to tell YouTube that it's not made for kids, which is a thing that's YouTube specific right now, but you have to tell YouTube that it's not made for kids. And that's actually going to help you with your monetization as well, making sure that all of your ads are enabled, or at least the ads that you want are also enabled. But once you do that, then you go into your YouTube Creator Studio, and then go into the advanced settings for that particular stream. And at that point in time, you can select your caption, your caption certifications. You can select the language of your live stream or your video. You can just select whatever monetization options you want. You basically get to optimize it and do all the settings just like you would a video. Now, with StreamYard, they specifically, currently at this point in time, they specifically mark your live streams as entertainment. So what you want to do is, as part of that optimization process on YouTube before you go live, is you want to go in there and you want to change the category to whatever it is that makes sense for the type of content that you make, as well as that your opportunity to make any adjustments to your description that you want, and you can also add tags, which is something that is currently not available on StreamYard as well. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you go in and you optimize on the platform, as well as scheduling it here from inside of StreamYard. Now, another thing that's really important on YouTube is, when we first started this, I was talking about the importance of giving people a satisfactory experience on YouTube. Well, one of the things that YouTube also uses as a factor for a satisfactory experience for their viewers is how much more of your content people watch. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are linking to other content from your live stream. So what I mean is, when you have your live stream and you're live at that point in time, right, you obviously don't want people leaving the stream, right? Because you want to keep people watching. So that's fine. But once your live stream is complete, at that point in time, it's good practice or best practice to actually go into your live stream and your live stream replay at that point. And you want to add in-screen elements to it, which make it easy for people to just click on, that part of the screen and watch more content. You want to add any YouTube cards if necessary to your live stream, but keep in mind, if you do use YouTube cards, you want to put those towards later in the stream, not the beginning, because it can hurt the performance of the video. And you also want to make sure that you pin a comment as well. And the reason for this, and basically what it is with pinning a comment, is you just write the comment, and then you have a 3-dot menu over on the right-hand side, and then you can click on that, and then you select the option to pin the comment on your video. And by doing these things, what you're doing is you're making it easy for people to find more of your content. So what you want to do is when you're linking to that content, you want to link into playlists. So you want to start putting your live streams together based on the topics that people care about for the type of content you make. Start putting your live streams into playlists and then linking directly to those playlists so that you can create a layback experience for some of the people that are going to consume your live streams or the replays. And the win with that is, as we know, a lot of people watch live streams, but a lot of people also listen to live streams while they're doing other things. So because of that, that gives you the opportunity to let people play your live streams back to back in the background while they're driving on their way to work, or while they're on a commute of some kind, or just while they're cleaning their house or whatever it happens to be. But by making it easy for people to find playlists of content that are relevant to the particular stream that you're linking from. So for example, if you're live streaming, car repair and you're doing like engine work, then in that situation, you want to make sure that the live streams that you're linking to are also related to that particular topic as well. If you're doing marketing advice, then in that situation, if you're talking about, CPMs, then you would want to talk more about monetization and the other content that you're linking to as an example. So you want it to be relevant to the interests of the viewer. So that's another thing to make sure that you're keeping in mind. And you also want to make it easy, because again, when people go and they watch more and more and more of your content, they keep coming back to your channel and watching more of your content. You also want to make sure here on YouTube that you are setting up your channel page properly. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, they will have channel art, but it won't have any context into what it is that's actually happening on the YouTube channel. Currently, at the time of this recording, StreamYard has that also, but we're going to be changing that up. But as of right now, that's what it looks like on the StreamYard channel as well. But the idea is you just want to put a little blurb letting people know, hey, this is the type of content that we offer on this channel. And then you also want to make sure that you're putting playlists, some of the playlists that you created that you link people to. From tip number 6, you want to make sure that you're putting playlists on your channel page. So your channel page is basically your YouTube homepage, not homepage like you logged into YouTube, but you go to your YouTube channel. That page is what I'm talking about when I refer to channel page. And when you are on that page, YouTube gives us 10 sections that you can add inside of or on that page, so that you can create 10 different playlists that you will be able to funnel viewers in based on their interest for the particular live streams or video content that you make for YouTube. So the idea behind that is, again, you just want to make it easy for people to find more of the content that they care about from you, right? Because again, like I talked about in the beginning, this whole thing is about the viewers. It's not about the people that are uploading the content or that are streaming the content. For YouTube, for what it is that YouTube wants for their goals, it's all about the viewer experience. You want to make your content sticky in terms of it's engaging enough to keep people watching. And you also want to make sure that you make it easy for people to find more of your content and give them a reason to where they want to keep coming back to your channel for even more of that content, which is where niching comes in as well, which is a topic for a whole other stream. But you definitely want to make sure that you're setting up your channel page, though, properly so that you can, send people into that content. But you also want to make sure that you're fully setting up your channel page anyway. So, for example, you want to make sure that if you are a marketer, for example, that you have a link to you, whatever it is that product or service that you have, you want to make sure that you have that as part of your channel art as well. You want to make sure that you're adding some of those links in your video descriptions also, so that it's easy for people to find you and for, to learn from you or whatever type of content it is that you happen to make, or install whatever it is or use whatever it is that you happen to be bringing attention to. As a matter of fact, if you look in this description, you should see a link to install StreamYard as well. I put that in there, I think, when I was putting the description together, but if not, I will for the replay. But the idea is to make it easy for people to be able to take the actions that you want them to take. Next, you want to make sure that you're fully, this is number 8, and then we're going to get into the Q&A here in just a little bit. Hey, James Pruitt, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Fully Involved Media Group, what's going on? Curl Addict, nice to see you here too. But the next thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you're fully optimizing your live streams and the replays for discovery. What this means is your live stream is not just a thumbnail and a title and a description. Inside of YouTube, maybe on Facebook it is, but inside of YouTube, there are more options that you need to make sure that you set in terms of language settings, category settings. You need to make sure that you're fully filling out your descriptions, you're adding any links in there that are relevant to whatever it is that you're bringing attention to. You need to make sure that you're packaging up your title and your thumbnail, or that you're packaging the video, I should say, in as compelling of a way as possible. And the reason for that is because the more compelling it is, the easier it's going to be to get people to click on it. So you got to make sure that you're making your streams about things that people care about. And then you got to make sure that you're packaging it in a way through your title and your thumbnail that those people that you're trying to reach will be able to identify that that content is for them. But you want to fully optimize everything around your live stream and everything around your video content that you're uploading to YouTube. Even if your live stream is finished, let's say that you didn't do that. You just went live directly through StreamYard. You didn't do any of the other stuff, which is fine. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you come back after your live stream and that you post optimize your video by adding tags, by adding proper descriptions, by adding, proper titles and thumbnails and things like that, that are going to be more likely to get people to click on those. And it's going to help give YouTube systems context into what the content is actually about. So you want to make sure that you are fully optimizing everything. And when you are doing this, another thing to think about as well, because, one of the biggest problems that people have on YouTube is a discovery problem. And what that means is that when they are uploading, video content or they're live streaming to YouTube, they have difficulty just getting people to see it, like getting in front of people, right? But the reason for that problem is because they're not doing it in a way that at that point in time, with the amount of people that YouTube is showing their content to, giving it a trial to see who's going to actually click on it and watch it. They just don't make it compelling enough for people to actually click on it in the first place. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you're packaging all this stuff up for the sake of like long-term viewership on YouTube, because that's one of the things that really separates YouTube from every other platform out there. And that's the discovery side. Like, it's a big hurdle, but once you understand how to get your content in front of more people, then it opens up this whole new world of how awesome YouTube is. So one thing that you can start with when it comes to optimizing your videos or your live streams is when you are thinking of the topic of what is it that I'm going to live stream about, right? What's the thing that I'm going to talk about during the live stream today? Are we just doing a hangout? If that's the case, then of course you're just reaching your community, and that's all you're probably going to get. But if you're doing something to where you're doing value add content in terms of people are getting something, they're learning something, they're getting inspired by you, motivated by you, you're helping them think in a different way, helping them understand something, that type of thing, then in that situation, it's really important to make sure that you are just doing something simple, like going up to the YouTube autocomplete. And the YouTube autocomplete is basically to where it's a YouTube search bar. And when you start typing in topics around the things that you make videos or live streams about, then YouTube is going to just show you a bunch of suggestions on other things that people search for when they're looking for content like yours. So one of the things that you can do to optimize so that you can have the opportunity to show up in YouTube search as long as people click and watch your stream, and you can show up on more home pages and show up in next to more videos, show up next to more suggested videos, is you want to just at the very least go to YouTube autocomplete and just start typing in the topics that you talk about and see what YouTube kicks back, and then say, okay, well, first off, this is letting me know that these are the things that people actually care about when it comes to content of mine, right? So for the type of content that I make, YouTube is telling me that these are the things that people are actively looking for on YouTube. So because of that, not only is that going to give me an endless sea of video ideas or live streaming ideas, but that's also going to let me know how to optimize my videos. It's going to give me a target. And what that means is, if you are putting your title and your thumbnail together and your topic, the things you're going to be talking about in your live stream, if you can make it around one of those things that people are actively searching for on YouTube, you have something that's proving to you that people care about what it is that you're doing. And then from there, all you have to do is package your video in a way to make it easy for YouTube systems to understand that that's what the content's about, and to make it easy for the people that content is for to identify that it's for them. So when you optimize your videos completely for YouTube, it actually doesn't start after the live stream is finished and you're repackaging it and you're scurrying around trying to find, the right keywords for it. It actually starts beforehand. Like, if you want to fully optimize your content for YouTube, if you know ahead of time, because you're using like the YouTube autocomplete, for example, or you're using TubeBuddy, or you're using Google, because Google does the same exact thing with the autocomplete, but you're basically taking your topic and you're putting it in these places. What that's doing is it's giving you a roadmap of the stuff that the people who are going to be watching your content care about, so that you can optimize around those things. Okay. So Really, really powerful when it comes to YouTube to do it in that order, because if you do a little bit of research on the topic first, then you can optimize it correctly so you can actually start getting views before you even go live. So as an example, sometimes for fun, like when I do my live streams, I'll optimize them for a specific term. Mine are a little bit different because they're typically just like a hangout where I answer a bunch of different questions, but I'll optimize them around a specific topic. And the funny thing is when I hit the schedule live, right? I just hit schedule live. I'm not even live yet. Those live streams, in some cases, depending on what I'm targeting for the search ranking, in some cases, those live streams will show up within minutes of me hitting the schedule button. And they're not even like, I'm not even live yet. I'm not even live for another 30 minutes or an hour. So, because of that, this technique is really powerful. And the beauty about it is if you can get attention through search on YouTube, there's also a really good chance that you're going to get it on Google as well, and the other search engines also that support video content. Because like if you can create a quality experience there and people are clicking and watching on YouTube, as long as they click and watch on Google as well, in terms of, when it pops up in search there, then that's also going to secure rankings for you there as well. Now, keep in mind, this is where that very first tip of streaming for the replay is so important, because what happens is, if you're not streaming for the replay, which is the very first one, when people click on your videos in Google, and this is why I explained how YouTube worked before, but when people click on your videos in Google, they click on your videos in search, if they don't stay and they don't watch for at least an acceptable amount of time, guess what's going to happen? YouTube is going to slowly stop showing that content to people. Google is going to slowly stop showing that content to people because it's a low response piece of content. But if it's a higher piece of, or a higher response piece of content, then you can maintain search rankings with those pieces of content. So, really important to know. And also when it comes to search as well, another thing to keep in mind is that even though you might be optimizing your live streams for search, you also want to make sure that you're doing that in a compelling way, so that if your content, your live stream does show up on somebody's YouTube homepage, that they'll also click on it there. Not just people that are like, hey, what are some live streaming tips? But if a live stream shows up on a YouTube homepage when somebody logs in that YouTube thinks might be a good candidate for your live stream, you want to make sure that your title and thumbnail package are compelling enough that you'll entice those people to click as well. So the next thing that we have that I want to bring some attention to, and I added this one to the list. Actually, I took one out and added this one in because of a conversation today in the StreamYard community over on Facebook. So just as a heads up, if you are not a part of the StreamYard community over on Facebook and you're a StreamYard user, make sure that you look for StreamYard next time that you're on Facebook. Really awesome community over there, and a lot of really good information shared. So make sure that you do that. But when it comes to YouTube, I know that some people sometimes have problems with trolls, or people saying things that they are not happy with, or just saying things that are insulting, that kind of stuff. On YouTube, where some of the other platforms don't offer this, on YouTube, we actually have something called a blocked words list here. And what that is it's a place inside of your YouTube settings to where you can go in and you can put a list of words that you want to get flagged anytime somebody says them, so that you don't see them. So if you put in a list of words, of course, every single time I always put in, explicit language. I put in, attack words in terms of, like jerk and, things like that. But I'll put in attack words and then I'll put in like racial stuff as well. And from there, I'll do anything. Like if somebody happens to say something in a comment and I'm like, that's kind of that's just not you're just not a cool person by saying that, then I'll just copy it and paste it right into that block words list. And then the next time somebody says something like that, then YouTube systems will automatically see it. As soon as they hit the comment button, it runs it through your filter. And then if one of the words in their comment is a trigger in that filter, then it will go ahead and block that comment from public view, and it will throw it into either a held for review area in your comments, or it will drop it into a likely spam area in your comments as well. So really advantageous when it comes to just keeping your comment section clean for the replays and for your actual live streams. You can do the same exact thing to where there's another option in there to where you can actually block hashtags and links as well. So if you have a problem with people spamming your comment section or coming into your live stream and dropping hashtags, things like that, that will actually help, keep all of that under control as well. And we're going to be doing the Q&A right here in just a minute. But before we do, I want to make sure that we get to number 10 here, which is if your lives are not doing well organically, in terms of, let's say that you do what I do, which is you stream for, 3 hours a pop or an hour a pop, depending on, where it is you're streaming. Well, you can actually take your live streams and you can cut them up into clips and you can put them on the same channel or you can put them on another channel for the sake of discovery. And the idea with this is to where you take little highlights and you optimize. Remember how I was talking before about going to YouTube search or Google search and typing in the topics of the things that you talk about? Well, if you notice when you're doing that type of research, if you notice that, hey, in this particular live stream, I actually talked about this, but I've never done a full live stream about it, probably won't. So I can actually go back to this live stream, cut out a clip of this, and maybe I'll add, a little intro to it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just upload it, as it is. But basically, if you just take out that little clip, then you can actually optimize that clip for search. And then that gives you the opportunity to be able to tap into search for the little clips as well as the long clips. So then you can also test on which ones are better for your particular channel on getting more viewers to come in to participate in what it is that you're doing. So you might find that your live streams are great while they're live, but maybe not so much on the replay. And that's where you go and you look at your live streams and you say, okay, how can I start clipping some of this stuff out to make more bite-sized content that might get a better response and might bring more attention to my YouTube channel? So, so hopefully, out of those 10 things, hopefully, that shared some insight in terms of, what you should be doing here on YouTube. Now, just as a heads up, again, for those of you that aren't familiar with me, my name is Nick. I teach people how to grow YouTube channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff. YouTube is an obsession of mine. So if you have any questions, like I want to help you out on YouTube, just in general, live streaming, not live streaming. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube or anything relating to what it was that we were talking about here with these 10 topics, or these 10 things, I should say, then, definitely feel free to go ahead and ask them in the chat now. And I will go ahead and head to the chat and we will go ahead and start pulling some of these out. Okay, so really quick, I just want to give some highlights here. We have Gene saying, I love doing live streaming. It's cool. Absolutely, it is. We got Ross Brand in the house. What's up, man? I hope that you are doing fantastic. I just saw it. Here it is. Bam. Saying an awesome list of tips. We got John Pullum here saying that I'm a genius. Thanks, John. I appreciate it, man. So I'm just going to scroll down here and we're going to see how, if you have any questions. So if you have a question, Curl Addict, drop in the Illuminati. Thank you for that. So yeah, if you have any questions, definitely drop them here. So Gallivanting Gals drops the first question, says, would you create another channel or use the same one if you're a small channel? I know you did a second channel, but you obviously have the subs. Yeah. So for me personally, I went with the second channel because I didn't want to test that much content on my current channel because I'm doing 3 uploads a week on the Clips channel, which is great because that's just like extra value for the community. It's extra views for me. So like all the way around, it's a huge win. But in terms of like, if you're just getting started, I would go ahead and I would put the clips on your own channel. If you're uploading like, daily clips, then in that case, I would do another channel. But if you're doing like a live stream or 2 live streams a week, and then you're like, you know what, out of my 2 live streams that I did this week, I think like these 2 clips would be fantastic standalone pieces of content, then just take those 2 clips and upload those to your YouTube channel. But, make sure like be very, detail's not the right word. Be very critical of the clips that you choose and make sure that you're just putting really good stuff up there if you're putting it on your main channel, for the sake of making sure that, when people do come in, that you do get a good response from those particular clips. And feel free also, like you can take the clips. What we do is we just take them, we add some graphics to them, and then we're done with really slight edits. But I mean, if you wanted to, you could take those clips out and you could tighten them up and make it, even a better piece of, video content as well. So in that case, if you're not uploading tons, then I would upload them to your main channel. But if you're uploading, if you're doing like 2 or 3 live streams a week, plus you're going to do clips, then in that case, I would move it to another channel or experiment with going like every other day, stream clip, something along those lines. But the best way when it comes out for your specific channel to like really narrow it down is to like test it and see how it goes. So one of the things that I did on my channel, just to give you insight, and for those of you that are here that watch my channel, you'll find this interesting. So basically, one of the things in one of my latest videos that I did was I made a video talking about launching the Live Clips channel. And the reason I did that, it wasn't to let people know that I have the Live Clips channel. The reason I did that was so that I could test adding a front end to the video, introducing the live stream, and then have an ending on the video. That's the reason that I put that on that channel. So now I have data that lets me know, hey, how are people responding to this type of content on my normal channel, even though the format isn't the same. So then that can start giving me insight onto, hey, maybe I can add, one of these per week. to my YouTube channel as well. So, you know, that particular video by itself was more of an experiment on the retention of the current audience instead of an announcement to let people know that I have the other channel. Okay, so let me scroll down here. Okay, so Gallivanting Gals also says, does YouTube remove live chat if you have been doing all the optimizing after it renders? Okay, so if you go in and you cut the live stream, right? If you go in and you use YouTube's editor, so basically you have the live stream replay, and then you go into YouTube's editor and you start cutting there. Once you save that, that's where you lose the chat. But if you go and you adjust your title, you adjust your thumbnail, you adjust your tags, you adjust your description, all the other things like that, no, you're fine. It doesn't remove the live chat replay. But if you make a change to the actual video content, if you use their editor, that's when it's saving. That's when you lose that replay. Lee Pert says, what camera do you use? I have this one is a Sony A6500 with a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 lens on it. I actually have two of these that I use for the stream, because on my live streams, and I was going to do it here, but I just ran out of time when I was setting up the actual tech, because I got another ATM mini ISO and I'm working on getting the recording side of this thing figured out. And I was doing that before the stream. But basically, the other one that I have, it's on a slider, and it's also a 6500 with a 16 millimeter. And then I have this one here, which let me see there it is. And then I have this one here also with the 16 millimeter 1.4. That is that's a 5100. So it's a Sony 5100. And I just use this as kind of like a candid thing. So if I want to give like a funny, like person sitting next to me, kind of funny look type of thing, or get a little bit serious, then this camera will be closer, and I'll do it there. But basically for the tech I'm using, it's kind of crazy actually. I have the ATM Mini Pro ISO. That's where everything's routing through, and then I have the HDMI out of that going into an HDEM Mini, so that I can use that as the interface into the computer instead of using like a Cam Link or something, which I might experiment with. But the idea is so that I can record, because the external for this gets taken up by a hard drive that I can use to record. But this is actually kind of crazy. Like if you look at it, like this is what it actually looks like when you go into full production mode on the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, which is kind of crazy. Okay, next question we have. Let's see here. Yeah, Curl Addict says the clips are a nice way to get all the stuff that we might miss. Absolutely, absolutely. No. So Farmstead Smith says, if you do the clips from your own stream, could you get nabbed on reused content? No, that's why we actually add graphics and things like that to them to make them a little bit different. Now, if you had your live stream and it was basically okay, let's say this live stream that you're watching right now, if we had the entirety of the live stream, and then you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to like leave this public, and I'm going to download it, and then I'm going to re-upload it to YouTube just as a standalone video to see if I can get a better response for it, or to give it another push, that would be reused content. But if you're taking the live stream and you're taking out highlights from it, then you're creating a different experience for the viewers, and it's different content. Now within that, it is important to know that, you know, it's always advantageous to make sure that you are adding something to it to make it a little bit different. Like we have a little, you know, like we put a quote of the actual question that pops up, you know, at the beginning of ours, so that it's clearly something different right out of the gate. And, you know, it's obviously different because we have a, you know, 3 to 10 minute clip compared to a 3 or 4 hour clip that they're working with. But yeah, you're fine as long as you're giving it a different package. Let's see here. And okay, so it looks like Gallivanting Gals is also having a problem with the YouTube settings. So yeah, so James Pruitt says to go into your YouTube Studio Advanced settings for the video and make sure that the box for live chat replay is checked. Yeah, you definitely need to do that. And this, hey, Danny Hatcher, what's up, man? This is also why it's so important to make sure that after you schedule inside of StreamYard, that you go ahead and go into YouTube and you do your optimization there, because then you can do the little details like that in terms of making sure that the live chat's enabled, making sure the replay is enabled. That's also to where if you have a really active chat, let's say you have a lot of people going through your live stream and the conversation's just too fast, you have a slow mode option as well, to where you can also slow down the speed in there also. Let's see here. Okay, so another one on the camera that I'm using, this is a Sony a6500 is the specific setup that I'm using. Sony a6500 routing into the AT-EM Mini Pro, routing into another AT-EM Mini, routing directly into the computer as a USB that lets it pop up here inside of StreamYard. Microphone, Shure SM7B, audio being processed through the Rode Procaster back here. So it's adding like compression and, a little bit of a low end to it and, like that kind of stuff for the sake of the audio. Let's see here. Adam's Exploits. What's up, man? Nice to see you in here too. So Yomi, Waisu Kosas, I apologize if I'm messing up the name, says, what time you think should be good for a themed stream? So do you mean like what length? When it comes to the length, it's just like it's your show. So you put you design your show in a way based around what it is that you want to give people, and then you make adjustments based on how those people respond. Because just like how I mentioned before when we were first starting this conversation, how I mentioned before about how YouTube works in terms of creators thinking that we upload content and YouTube promotes that content, but instead they're focused on the viewers and showing the viewers the content that they are most likely to see. It's not about us getting promotion. It's about the viewers getting what is a good fit for them. Same exact thing applies to us when we're making our content, is we have to think about, okay, the viewers, what kind of experience are they going to have, and how can we make it as awesome as possible for them? And one of the ways that you do that is by paying attention how long people are actually hanging out in your live stream. So inside of your YouTube stats, you'll be able to see like your peak concurrent viewership. If you have your YouTube backend open while you have your live stream, while you're streaming onto StreamYard, one of the things that you can also see is you can actually see the stats of your viewership when people are coming in, when they're leaving. You can see when you peak, you can see when it starts to kind of die down, and you can use that information to, one, let you know when optimal times are to go live on YouTube in the first place, which they give us stats also to let us know when our audience is mostly online, but it lets us know when a good time is to go live based on, that stat. And it also lets us know how much people can take. Right. So one thing that I noticed is we used to do live streams on my channel that were like 6 or 7 hours long. Great. A lot of people hung out. But one of the things that I did notice is that after around the 3-hour mark, viewership would start to, taper down much quicker than it typically would. That's why part of the reason is because my brother's trapped in Mexico. My brother D, he's also here on this channel as well. But basically, one of the things that that has changed there is he is in Mexico. So we would still be doing longer-ish live streams, but I would still have them cut down quite a bit, just because I have the data that shows me that, after that 3-hour mark, then people kind of start, tuning out a little bit. So because of that, you want to use the data that YouTube gives us. Inside of our YouTube analytics, they tell us everything that we want to know about our audience and how they're responding to what it is that we're doing. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're using that for your content decisions. Let's see here. Inside the Lab, PC Tech says that although your live streams are community focused, do you use a run of show? I don't. On this particular one, I just use bullet points. On my main live streams, I don't there. The time that I think that is the most important is when you have guests and things like that, so that you can share it with them. I've been doing live streaming for a really long time, so because of that, I have like basic, I have my format together, which is kind of part of what a run a show is. It tells you like what to do next type of thing. But in my particular case, for my Hangout show that I do on my YouTube channel, the most that I'll do in that regard is I'll have a few talking points in terms of if there's like a big YouTube update, or if I have something new that I'm trying to bring attention to, or something along those lines. But I don't use a run of show for that one. Now, if I was making those specifically for the replay, because they're not, those are made for what it is while it's live. But if I was making those specifically for the replay, then in that particular case, I would probably do a run a show just to make sure that everything went by a lot smoother, and to make sure that I got exactly what it is that I needed to get into that live stream without forgetting about it. Let's see here. Sean and Casey on vacay mode says, can you use a stream deck for a streaming dock for StreamYard? So by streaming dock, I'm not sure if you mean like something like this, or by streaming dock, I'm not sure if you mean just like a stream deck where you can kind of control things. So as of right now, I know somebody in the StreamYard forum on Facebook they actually hacked together a way that they were able to use macros, I think it was, with the Stream Deck in order to do some switching in StreamYard. I haven't explored that yet, but I'm definitely going to explore that one because that's just super cool. So I want to learn how to do that, but you can do it in a way. I'm just not sure how to do it yet. Jawboy Leaf says, hey, Nick, love your videos. My question is, how do I grow in a saturated area? For example, I make Warzone content and it's saturated, but I love playing Warzone. Any tips for growing in my situation? Absolutely. So one thing that you want to pay really close attention to is YouTube focuses on gamers they have like a gaming area of creators on the rise. So what you want to do is every time you see a gamer pop up there, you want to go and you want to look and you want to pay really close attention to what it is that they're doing, because what they're doing is working. Right? The success leaves clues is the thing that you always hear, right? And like, in the business world. So basically what you want to think about is you want to think about, okay, they're on creator on the rise. They're doing something right. What is it? And one of the things that you will almost always find is those channels that end up on the creators on the rise. They're usually between 8 and 10,000 subscribers on the channel, but they also typically focus on help content. That comes down to, teaching people how to do a specific thing in the game, sharing guides about the game and particular characters in the game, that kind of thing, showing hacks where to find stuff in the game. But it's all value-based content in that regard, not necessarily entertainment-based content in terms of like, hey, just watch me play the game. So if you're making Warzone content, I would have one of the pillars of your content as part of your content strategy. I'd have one of the pillars of your content as help content if you're not already. And by doing that, that's going to give you the opportunity to basically get in front of people from the value that you bring, instead of just hoping people will come in to watch a particular game that you are going to be playing at that point in time. So I really recommend that you go hard, at least for a pillar. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you're doing 3 videos a week on your YouTube channel. If it was me and I was trying to grow a gaming channel, but I love doing Let's Plays and I love that aspect of things, then in that situation, I would do a live Let's Play or a video, record a video, either one. But I would do the live Let's Play, and then I would have 2 pieces of video content that would be specific help-based content that I would either live stream and then, repackage for a better experience for, re-uploading it as a video after the live stream was taken down and deleted off of the channel, or just pulling it, directly from the recording option inside of StreamYard if you happen to be streaming it with StreamYard. But yeah, help content is like the low-hanging fruit. Like, it's the easiest way to get discovered on YouTube, because all you do with help content, and you can do help content with pretty much anything. But the thing is with help content is, like, if you're doing gaming, for example, you have the side of like Let's Play, but in order for people to come in and watch and enjoy your Let's Play, you have to be really good. And it's obvious that you're really good right out of the gate. You have to be over the top entertaining. And I don't mean obnoxious, but I just mean like you're super engaging to watch and listen to, or you got to be helping people out. So when you're helping people out, then in that situation, like, anybody can go into that. Anybody can add, can create value-based content that helps people. And when you do that, it becomes really easy to get discovered, because people are always looking for, how to solve particular problems, or, guides on specific games, or whatever it happens to be. It just makes it really easy for your content to show up there. And then once it does, then the advantage there is, once YouTube starts detecting that, hey, the people that find this video from search, they enjoy this video, they watch it, they comment on it, they give it a thumbs up, they subscribe to the channel, they come back and watch more videos. Then once their system starts detecting, the person here that's watching, that found this video in search, they watch this channel here because they found it in search, but they're also watching some of these other gaming channels. And then this other person that came in and found it in search, they're watching this one, but they're also watching some of these other gaming channels as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to find some of the audience from some of these other gaming channels. And we're going to start testing some of your content against them on their homepages next to other videos. And then over time, that's how YouTube will slowly start to get your content in front of the right people based on how they respond to what it is that you're doing. Let's see here. Wired Talk with Big G. Big G. Love that. It's a great name. Says, hey, do you have a lens adapter for your 16mm lens to be able to use autofocus? Reason I ask is I use the 5100, but my Vivitar 18mm lens with adapter doesn't allow autofocus. So if you're using the 1500, so first, I'm not using an adapter, and you can see here, nice, easy, quick autofocus. And then if we switch here, nice, easy autofocus. So on the 16mm 1.4, no adapter needed. on the 5100. And then as soon as I take that away, you can see the difference, right there in the two. So, and of course, you can do the zone focus and all that stuff just like normal. And then of course, anytime you put something up for it to focus on, then as long as you don't have the face tracking on, then it finds them. Then it finds it and focuses easily. So Adam's Exploit says the free versions have the StreamYard watermark, or you can use it in the paid version if you like. Absolutely. Yeah. So basically when it comes to the watermark, I mean, it's, if you're using StreamYard or any tool for free, then, you have to understand that, you're using it for free. So because of that, having a watermark on it is extremely acceptable. But if you do want to, remove the watermarks on anything, just, spend the few bucks that's required in order to do it. Rob Fuzz says, is there a way to use external cameras with StreamYard? I don't see the options to use my Nikon Z50. Great question, Rob Fuzz. So when it comes to external cameras, like these are external cameras that I'm using with this, it comes down to your computer recognizing that it's a device. Or that it can be used as a webcam. So for that, you can use something called a cam link. I think it's like, I don't know, 70 or $100 or something like that off of Amazon. I actually have, give me 1 second. I'll show it to you. As long as it's in here. Yeah. So this right here, this is a cam link from Elgato. Basically, it's just like a USB dongle. There's another version that's getting some steam right now. It's like $20. I haven't used it, so I can't endorse it. But the cam link, basically what it is you HDMI out of your camera into that, and then you just plug it into your computer via USB. And then now this makes it so that you can use that camera as a webcam. Yami Kosas says, can I use the Stream Deck with StreamYard? Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier, and the thing with the Stream Deck is you can, and there's like a way to kind of hack it all together, but I haven't went through the process of learning that yet, but definitely will. So maybe if I can figure that out and it's not too crazy, then maybe the next stream that I do here might be about that, unless somebody else takes that idea and does it. Let's see here. So China Teacher Brand says that I always sound quieter than my Skype guests. Why is that, and how do I fix it? So first off, if you sound quieter, then getting a microphone and, putting a stronger audio signal in is definitely a win. Make sure that you have the audio processing on inside of StreamYard, because that might help level things out a little bit. And another thing you can do is, if you notice that, you can tell your guests, just be like, hey, like for example, if you were to stream with me, if I was a little bit too loud, you could just say, hey, I'm just matching the audio. Do you mind scooting the microphone away just a little bit so that I can, balance the audio a little bit better. But in terms of the difference in the volume, the way people communicate also can impact that. So for example, I just speak loud anyway. So since I speak loud anyway, once I'm live, I'm even louder. So because of that, like I come in pretty loud sometimes on other people's stuff. And I'll actually accommodate for that on my end by just turning myself down in the mixer over there a little bit before I go live with them. John Pullum says, I love all your videos. Your comments over coffee is my favorite podcast too. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me slide the plug in there. So if you're watching the videos and haven't checked that out yet, you sure should. Absolutely. I agree. And I also want to let you know, if you're here from my channel, or if this just showed up on your homepage, I do want to let you know that this is the StreamYard YouTube channel. And here, in addition to the other content that they have on the channel, we're also going to be sharing a lot of tip type content like this over the next year or so. So because of that, you definitely want to make sure that you're subscribed here if you're a live streamer. And you also want to make sure that you're giving StreamYard a shot. If you haven't yet, a link for that is in the description, or you can just go to StreamYard.com. Let's see here. So let me scroll up. Hello, Nozel. Nice to see you here. Hello, Judia. Nice to see you here as well. And Yomi says, hey, Nick, please make a video on how to connect multiple cameras to the stream, please. Yeah, so here's the thing. I'll actually show you, like right now, I'll show you my setup. If you guys want to see my setup. So basically, all I'm doing right now is, if you look right here, I have it to where this is all routing through an ATM Mini. And then all I have to do is just hit these buttons. And when I hit these buttons, then that allows it to switch to whatever it is. Like I can pull up my computer screen. And the idea is I have 4 HDMI inputs. There we go. I have 4 HDMI inputs here into the device itself. This one's the ISO, and I got this one so that I can record. But typically I have this one, which is the same exact thing, but it's much cheaper, but it doesn't have the recording option. So I think total price, if you don't want to worry about the recording side, because StreamYard will handle that anyway. I'm just wanting to get as high res as humanly possible for the clips channel that I'm doing. That's why I'm doing the recording directly out of here too. So there's zero processing on it, before anything happens. But basically, for the ATEM Mini by itself, I think it's right around $300, and that'll allow you to swap them. This one here was a little over $1,000 for the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. A little over $1,000, so it's probably a pretty heavy investment unless you are, unless you're wanting to record the streams. Because with the ISO, what it's doing is with all the different cameras that I have, even the screen here, is this is more than just for live streaming for me personally. But basically, what it's doing is it records all the streams or all the different stuff in real time. And then it puts all of that on a drive, and then it can be passed off to an editor to where, let's say that I'm doing training, for example, right? Then in that situation, I can be showing the screen and I can just talk, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to touch anything. And then it can all be put together in post, so I can crank out training content faster as well. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So John says that he got the $20 one and it works great. So yeah, so if you have the name for that, that would be fantastic, John, for the name of that $20 one. Let's see here. Rob Fez says, I have the Elgato HD60s. Yeah, the HD60s are great. We use those in the live studio. So basically, in addition to what we have here, we have a whole thing that we built. My brother actually built it. Same thing. We've got multiple cameras in there. We've got, lights and stuff in the background, but it has more of a studio vibe to it. But we use the HD60s over there for that. But I'm actually going to end up getting one of these or moving one of these over there once he comes back from Mexico, once they open up the borders here, once he comes back from Mexico, so that we can also do some of this stuff like we're doing here as well. Just kind of level it up a bit. I'm a big fan of leveling up. Okay, let's see here. So Farmstead Smith says, oh, comments over coffee. I'm super interested. Is that posted on YouTube too? Currently it is not, but I created a channel for it. So if you look for comments over coffee, you're going to see it. I have videos loaded into there. I just haven't launched it yet because I just put the information out that I have my clips channel. So I'm letting that breathe a little bit in terms of me just sharing information about that one to get a little bit of a boost on it. And then I'm going to launch the YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and get subscribed though, so you get notified when it goes up. Let's see. Okay, so Mitra Meeting and Travel with Horacio, I hope I'm saying that right, says, I used StreamYard last week. During the live stream, my image was awesome with the Elgato capture card, but when I export it, the image is horrible. What could be wrong? So if you're using the capture card, like the Elgato capture card, and you're actually recording it to your computer, you might want to look in the card itself to see if you have any settings in there in terms of the quality for the recording. Because I know that a lot of the live streaming stuff, you have your live quality and then you have your recording quality. So because of that, I would make sure that you're looking to make sure that things match up there. Because if you have it looking great on live, but then it looks bad when it's on the computer, then that's most likely where that happened. If I was troubleshooting that would be the first place that I would start. Let's see here. Okay, so Ratty Star says, does StreamYard have any use for gamers, or is it software like OBS and Slob's the best? So I think that with StreamYard, you can actually, I know for a fact that you can do this, but you can actually integrate StreamYard and OBS. You can use OBS as an external source going out to StreamYard if you wanted to. So for example, I know some things that happen with the with Streamlabs OBS and with OBS is that it's just taxing on a computer. So if you have a lower quality computer that can't handle properly, that can't handle OBS as the main streaming thing or something like that, then as a gamer, then StreamYard is fantastic. In addition to that, since they have the option also for screen sharing and all of that, technically you could also just have a cool design made for the background, like streamertemplates.com, D's thing. But you could have a cool thing made for the background, and you could minimize it to the image there, and then you could have your gameplay over on the other side too. So if you're streaming from a computer, it would just be easy. In terms of a PlayStation, the routing you would have to do and all that would make it a little bit more complicated. But if you're streaming from a computer, then I see no reason that you wouldn't be able to use StreamYard. The only thing that it doesn't have is the whistles and bells in terms of like alerts popping up and, like that kind of stuff. But you can also do things as well to where you could use, if you had a stronger computer, to where you can use like OBS or Streamlabs, and then you can actually use the virtual webcam for those. And you can also export those into StreamYard as well. Or you could also like screen capture your StreamYard, and you could pull that into your OBS or your Streamlabs OBS so that you can pull in guests as well. Because, with StreamYard or Streamlabs and OBS, they don't have the functionality for bringing in guests. Let's see here. So in order to go live on YouTube, you have to verify your channel first. And by verify, I don't mean that you have to have like a verified check mark. I mean that you have to use either the call in or the text in option so that you have, like an official YouTube channel. So because of that, you do have to do that. To live stream on a mobile device, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. However, if you are going to live stream with StreamYard, in that particular case, like you can go live without any further requirements. Hey, White Noise Studio, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Okay. So Gallivanting Gal says, what is comparable to a Rode Procaster that is easily transported? We have a Zoom H6 and Cam Link to do a live stream podcast, but want to add in sound effects along with using 2 cameras. Okay, so in this case, like the Procaster is great for using those sound effects, but if you're using a H6, with the H6, you have multiple inputs into the H6, so you can hook multiple microphones into it. You can also do a line in, I believe. I have an H6 in the other room. I can't think of the differences in that and of the H4 off the top of my head, but I think it takes more inputs. But basically, what you could do in that situation, if you're trying to get sound effects, is you could use, if you're on an iPhone, there's one, I think it's called Backpack or Boss Jack or something like that. But you can actually use, just look for soundboard apps, either on your iPhone or on an Android if you have one, whichever device that you use, look for a soundboard app. And then you could actually line out from your phone or your tablet into your Zoom. And then you'd be able to actually trigger sound effects directly from inside of your device. I think it's called Backpack, the one that I have on the tablet. I think it's called Backpack is the name of that. But in terms of the easily transported, like you can't get much easier than the H6 in terms of transport, because I mean, it's only like this big, that long, so it's really easy to actually get that thing around if you're a traveler. So because of that, I would stick with that. But if you're just wanting to add the sound effects, then I would make sure that you try your phone first before you go out and you spend a bunch of money on something like a Procaster or something like that. That's kind of overkill for something like that. Now, when it comes to using multiple cameras, totally different thing there, because in that situation, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find, like your audio source, and then you're going to have to actually sync it all up and post later if you are making videos. But if you're live streaming, then the routing for that one, if you're doing multiple cameras, would be to use, would you be able to, if both cameras plugged into the Zoom, and then you're using the Zoom as an interface into either your laptop or your tablet, and then you also have the sound effects coming in from your phone or your tablet into the Zoom, then yeah, your Zoom would actually be the hub of your audio. And then for the switching, you would just do that on your tablet or on your computer through StreamYard. So yeah, well, actually with the multiple cameras, you would still need an external device of some kind, unless you brought in 2 different sources. Basically you're your own guest, so to speak, inside of StreamYard. That would allow you to switch cameras that way. But if you're wanting to do it like I do at like the push of a button, then in that situation, then you would need to get something to actually, an actual switcher for it. Let's see here. Okay, so John Oates says, we want to run 3 to 4 remote guests. StreamYard is ideal for this, but not so good for streaming short HD video items. Is there a way for triggering previously uploaded YouTube video content? So the first thing that I would mention in that situation is if you are triggering other people's content, just be careful because of, if somebody uses a song, let's say they got the song from Epidemic Sound as an example, which is the audio source that I use for all my stuff. But if they got the music from Epidemic Sound, and then you're playing their clip, and then their sound plays with that music in it, and then it triggers, YouTube's copyright system, and you can run into issues there. So if you're looking at previously made YouTube videos, just try to make sure that they're your own videos for the sake of just being extra safe, because you don't want to deal with copyright strikes and claims and all that good stuff. It's no fun. But in terms of playing short content, absolutely. You can just use the screen share feature, and using the screen share feature, then you can pull up a, then you'd be able to pull that up, and you'd be able to play, whatever it is that you wanted inside of YouTube. So what I would do in that situation, if it was me, is I would just queue up whatever videos it was that I was going to be showing. I would have those available in different tabs, and then I would just select that tab, and share the screen when I wanted to show those particular clips. So the Arisi portable video converter is the name of the one that John's using. Okay, let's see here, John. I'm excited for it, John. Okay, so Thermal Rain says, I have a deviated septum, so it's hard to breathe and it's loud. Is there a mic that can only pick up my voice and not me trying to breathe? So what you want to look for is something with a noise gate on it, and you want to adjust the threshold around it. So for example, if your breaths are really loud, then in that situation, I would try to get the microphone close to you, and I would actually use microphone technique with that, in addition to using a noise gate of some kind. And the reason for that is that you could talk. Like I'll just keep breathing for me, but I don't have that problem that I'm aware of. Maybe my breathing's annoying, I'm not sure. But basically what I would do in that situation is I would sit there and talk. And when I knew I was going to take a breath, I would just move my head away just a little bit. I would take the breath there, and then I would, go back to talking. So that would be a little bit of mic technique mixed with something with a heavy noise gate on it. And for the noise gate, you can use something like the Procaster. You can use, if you're, looking into external gear, there's also something called a DBX 286S. That is also great for processing your voice, but they also have a gate attached to that as well. There's probably some stuff that you can use through like Voice Meters, which is a piece of software. Probably some things that you could use through that as well to put a little bit of a gate on the audio. Or I know if you use Adobe Creative Suite, that you can also route your audio through Adobe Audition. And if your computer's strong enough to do it, you'd be able to route your audio through Adobe Audition, and then you'd be able to have Audition go out into StreamYard as the audio source. And then you could run the gate inside of Adobe Audition as well while you're live, but your computer's going to have to be, is going to have to be a beast. Not a beast, it's just going to have to be a decent, computer in order to be able to pull that off. Vigard in the house. What's up, dude? Hope that you're doing awesome. Man, Vigard, if anybody's into filmmaking content, so Vigard right here that's in the chat, if anybody's into filmmaking content, you need to go check out his latest video. Oh my God, it's just stunning. He's in Norway, and the whole thing is like around isolation. So he's got all these like lonely shots and all this stuff, and just the edit, it's super epic. You need to check that out if you're into that type of, just if you want to watch just an awesome piece of content, go watch that video. Hasta la vista boss says, hey Nick, OBS for StreamYard. I'm doing New York live streams using a setup you shared with us a couple of years back. Even our buddy Matt Diggity loved the setup when he came on my show. Oh, nice. So Matt's awesome, by the way. Just want to go ahead and say that. But in terms of OBS for StreamYard, it really depends on what it is that you're doing. So the win with StreamYard is that like you don't have to worry about updates. You don't have to worry about any like tech problems. Like it's all web-based. So basically you just have to connect to it and go, right? And because of that, it just makes it easy. Now the downside is in terms of like all the whistles and bells that you can do inside of like OBS as an example, is in OBS, even though you can put like tickers and you can put graphics, like for example, like I can put graphics on here. Like this is some stuff from my live show that I do on my channel to where I have graphics pop up for that. I have graphics pop up for my podcast. I have graphics pop up for my social media. I have a little thing down here that I pop up as well, just letting people that I know that I do the show 9 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday. And I've also got this up here where I have the Nimin Live logo go up on top. And the cool thing about this is you can make graphics, and you can have graphics made for your StreamYard stream to where, if you have a guest, for example, and it goes into dual mode to where you have, like you and the guest, and you have that background area. If you go to streamertemplates.com, that's actually my brother's website. He has pre-built templates there, or you can have custom stuff done to where you can still use, all kinds of awesome looking graphics. You can make your stream look cool. Streamertemplates.com, again, is the name of that. However, things that you don't have here is that you don't have like an OBS, like you can mask something. So let's say, for example, if I wanted to mask like a webcam into a star shape, I can do that. If I wanted to have a little alert pop up when somebody subscribes, I can use additional plugins to do that, or I can have it built in inside of Streamlabs OBS. If I want to have, like a motion transition happen, then I can do that inside of Streamlabs OBS, where I can't do it here. So there are limitations with it being web-based, and they're continually adding features here, but there are limitations for that. But in terms of just ease of use, easily bringing on a guest to where you don't have any technical hurdles, it's extremely easy to use in that regard. So it comes down to like your show and like how intense you are when it comes to, what it is that you're doing. But if you look at my, like if you're already, like if you know Matt, and if you're already familiar with my content, then if you look at my Saturday live streams, any of the ones that I've done for the last like few months, they're all done in StreamYard. And you can see like, with using the external stuff, like the camera switchers and all that, I can put together a pretty sweet stream inside of StreamYard as well. So it just comes down to your particular stream and like how it is that you're putting everything together and what you want it to look like and do for the function. Oh, let's see here. Michelle Brown says, I also appreciate StreamYard for making my job so much easier. Salute to you both. Okay. We got some love coming in here for D also. James saying, love the Niman brothers. Thank you for that. And I'll speak on D's behalf too and say thank you from D. Also, let's see here. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So let's see here. The Lady Lacey Show says, how do you get the sound from previous YouTube videos more clear, not like picking me shuffling behind the screen? So in that situation, what you would want to do is you'd want to make your, like if you're pulling in a YouTube video and you're watching a YouTube video on your stream, then in that case, you'd want to make that full screen and then just mute yourself. And then when you make it full screen, I think you might get muted automatically, but when you make it full screen, then all the focus will be on that, or you can simply just mute your mic. Now, if you mean, how do I like stream without like hearing a bunch of stuff going on in the background? Then in that situation, that's where you also would want to look into something external, or a piece of software, something that would allow you to have noise gating with what it is that you're doing, because that keeps all of the background sounds off. Like for example, if you have headphones on, you can probably hear it. You can hear my mic turning on and off. Like if I stop talking and then I start talking again, there's a real good chance it went down to where you might have heard just a little bit of something, or you just went to zero where you heard nothing. But with that, I have an air conditioner literally blowing on me in the microphone right now. In addition to that, right outside of this window over here, there is a big air conditioner box that's sitting there and it's just spinning, right? And it's being loud, but it's perfectly okay, right? So, so this is at, an acceptable level for still being able to have the air conditioner on and stuff like that, which I need when I'm streaming for long periods of time. Okay. Okay, so again, I just want to say that I hope that you learned something today when it comes to YouTube and live streaming. If you came in late, I really encourage you to watch the entire start at the beginning of this, because there's some really important things when it comes to YouTube that you need to make sure that you're keeping in mind when it comes to live streaming specifically to YouTube. That's different from the other platforms. So because of that, just make sure that you go back and you watch the entirety of this show, at least while I was giving those 10 tips. And besides that, I just want to thank StreamYard for having me on here. So thanks guys for, letting me, come on and share some YouTube knowledge here. And I'm going to be streaming here, just as a heads up, the last Tuesday of every month. So because of that, go ahead and just mark in your schedule the last Tuesday of every month. And that's when you're going to be able to come on here. We're going to be talking about YouTube and live streaming and YouTube just as a whole, because, as people that are live streaming to YouTube, it's important for you to understand how to fully tap into the potential that you have here on YouTube in terms of just discovery and just in terms of building communities and making money and all the other stuff that that comes with live streaming and creating content for the internet. So thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you had an awesome experience today in the live stream, and I will see you next time.